Welcome, dear traveler. Tonight you are invited to rest, not only your body, but your thoughts, your worries, your long day. In the quiet of this hour, we will walk together through 7 timeless stories told by Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi. You may listen or you may drift into sleep. There is nothing you need to do. If you wish to sleep deeply, you may set a sleep timer in YouTube settings and allow the words to fade gently with you. And if these stories bring peace to your night, you are warmly invited to subscribe so we may meet again in other quiet hours. Now, let the world grow distant. Breathe slowly and let the journey begin. Long ago, in a kingdom known for wisdom more than wealth, there lived a king who valued truth above flattery. Word reached him of 2 renowned masters of art, one from China, famed for colors and intricate designs, and one from the Roman Empire, known for simplicity and refinement. When both arrived at court, they greeted the king with dignity. The Chinese master said, "Majesty, no hand can blend colors as harmoniously as ours. Give us walls and we shall transform them into gardens of wonder." The Roman master replied gently, "We do not seek to dazzle eyes. While color enchants the senses, purity reveals the soul." The king, intrigued by their contrasting claims, ordered, "Let 2 walls be prepared, one for each of you. Work in silence for 40 days, then I shall judge whose art speaks closest to truth." The king ordered a single vast chamber to be prepared, with 2 walls facing one another, one entrusted to Chinese artists and the other to the Roman artists. The walls were separated by a single curtain. 2 masters were invited to prove the power of their art. The Eastern artist requested pigments from every corner of the world: lapis from distant mines, saffron from rare blossoms, gold dust from riverbeds. Day after day, they painted forests and rivers, mountains and skies, scenes of joy and sorrow. With a skill honed over generations, they painted the wall as though it were a window into nature. Across the hall, the Roman artists approached the wall differently. They asked for no colors, no gold, no silk. Instead, they sealed themselves within the hall and polished the wall slowly and carefully. Day after day, they worked with nothing but water, cloth, and patience. They removed every stain, every mark, every trace of their own touch. Slowly, The surface grew smooth, then luminous, until it seemed as though it were carved from moonlight itself. The courtiers mocked them. They labor for nothing. Where is the art? Where is the brilliance? But they did not reply. Stillness was their brush. Effort was their color. On the 40th day, drums sounded. The curtain was lifted. The king turned first to the wall of the Chinese artists. He was stunned. Flowers seemed to breathe. Rivers seemed to run. Mountains layered in mist, ancient trees and blooming flowers emerged in breathtaking detail. Their color were rich but harmonious, their forms precise yet full of life. He whispered, "Truly, this remains one how beautiful the world can be." He was moved by its beauty and praised the artists for bringing the soul of nature indoors. Then the king turned to the Roman wall. The wall stood plain, yet its surface reflected every detail of the Eastern painting with astonishing clarity. But more than that, the reflection was deeper, as though the images had been washed of all heaviness and shone in their pure sense. The king stepped back out. "Here," he said softly, "is not the beauty of the world, but the truth behind it. The first teaches us to admire creation. The second teaches us to reflect upon it." Then he turned to his court and declared, "The artists of the East used many colors to reveal beauty, but the artists of the West removed all colors and became mirrors of beauty. For personal art dazzles the eye, but purity of spirit reflects the divine." And so it was recorded. The eye sees through color, the heart sees through clarity. Love desires that this truth be spoken clear. A mirror, if it shows not all, how can it be dear? You ask why your mirror reflects no light, because its surface is not clean and bright. Have you seen a name without its true form appear? Or gathered the rose from letters held so near? You've read the name, now seek the essence true. The moon is in the sky, not in the stream's hue. If from mere words and names you wish to stray, then cleanse yourself, cast your own self away. Like iron from its rust, shed all your old design. Through discipline, become a mirror, pure and fine. Purify yourself from every trait you claim. Then you shall see your own pure, stainless flame. The first story comes to a close. Let its meaning rest gently within you. There is no need to understand, only to feel. And now we move on to another tale from the ocean of Rumi's wisdom. One day, a man set a trap and caught a small bird. He held it tightly in his hand, thinking of what he might do with it. The bird trembled but spoke calmly. "O respected master," the bird said, "you have consumed great animals and expensive meals all your life, yet you were never satisfied. How could my tiny body ever satisfy you?" The man remained silent. The bird continued, "Release me, and I will give you 3 pieces of advice. From these, you will learn whether I am wise or foolish, and perhaps they will bring you good fortune." "The first piece of advice," said the bird, "I will give while I am still in your hand. The second, after I am released on the wall. The third, from a tree nearby." Curious, the man agreed. The bird said, "Here is the first advice. Never believe what is impossible. Do not accept words that reason cannot hold." The man thought the advice sounded sensible. Satisfied, he opened his hand. Instantly, the bird flew free and perched on the wall of the man's house. From there, the bird called out, "Here is the second advice. Do not grieve over what has already passed. When something is gone, regret will not bring it back." Before the man could respond, the bird added, "Now listen carefully. Inside my body were 2 rare parrots, each as big as a walnut and heavy as a stone. Those pearls were meant to be your fortune and the good luck of your children. You have lost them forever, for there is nothing like them in this world." At these words, the man cried out in pain. He tore at his clothes and wailed loudly, as if struck by a great disaster. His heart burned with regret, and his mind filled with sorrow. Seeing this, the bird laughed gently and said, "Did I not just advise you not to grieve over what has passed? Why do you mourn something that can never return? Either you did not understand my advice, or you chose to ignore it." Then the bird added, "And did I not warn you not to believe what is impossible? You held me in your hand. You felt my light weight. You saw the thin bones of my body. Tell me, how could pearls so large and heavy fit inside such a small stomach?" The man lowered his head. His grief slowly turned into shame. He looked up and said, "You are right. I was foolish. Please tell me the third and final piece of advice." The bird flew to the branch of a tall tree and said, "I will tell you, because you have finally begun to listen. Giving advice to an ignorant and careless person is as useless as planting seeds in salty soil. With that, the bird flew away into the sky, leaving the man standing alone. If you are still awake, welcome. If you are drifting, let yourself drift freely. The next story arrives like a quiet knock at the door of the heart. Listen, dear friends, to this ancient tale, for it is truth itself wrapped in our veil. There once a merchant dwelled in days of old. A parrot fair he kept in cage of gold. Imprisoned there with feathers bright and fine, a captive soul beneath the jasmine vine. The merchant setting forth on voyage afar, to Hindustan prepared his desert car. He called each handmaid, called each faithful slave. What gift shall I from foreign kingdoms brave? Each asked a boon, a trinket or delight, and he, the gracious Lord, pledged each the right. Then turned he to the parrot, caged and still, "And thou, what shall I bring thee, if you will?" The parrot said, "When thou that land dost see, where birds fly free in grove and forest tree, speak of my state to kin of feathered kind. Say to the parrots what I leave behind." A bird once glad, now grieves in present plight. She sends you greetings deep into the night. In bonds she weeps, her heart with longing torn, and begs your counsel, lost, alone, forlorn. Can it be just while ye on branches sing, that I in cage must clip my silent wing? Is this the pledge that faithful hearts should keep? You soar in joy, while I in shadow sleep. If I should perish here in chains of pain, say love was true, though not return again. Recall me, nobles, in the fields of morn, one cup of grace for this poor bird forlorn. The merchant took the parrot's plea to heart and vowed to play the faithful invoice part. He journeyed far till Hindustan lay near, through desert vast and jungles green and clear. And there upon a bough in shaded grace, he saw a flock of parrots in that place. He reined his steed and raised his voice on high, to speak the words and let her message fly. O birds of Hind, one cage afar from thee sends greeting wrapped in sorrow's melody. She mourns in chains and longs for sky and tree, and begs of thee a balm, a remedy. No sooner had he voiced the captive's name than one bird shivered as if struck by flame. It trembled, gasped, and fell upon the ground. Its breath took flight, it made no farther sound. Struck dumb with grief, the merchant tore his vest. What harm have I now wrought upon this quest? Alas, he cried, this bird was surely kin. Two souls, two forms, yet bound by love within. What have I done? What bore I forth her sigh? My heedless words have caused this bird to die. A foolish message clothed in pain and fire. And now I've slain her with her own desire. The merchant, done with trade and distant lands, returned once more with gifts in open hands. Each handmaid, each young page received their prize, with joy and sparkles dancing in their eyes. But the parrot cried, now where is mine? What news from kin? What word? What sacred sign? He sighed and said, Alas, I wrote a day. I brought you message, but have not to say. I bit my hand in shame, I grieved and mourned, for what I told became a blade and tore. A soul it struck, a foolish task I took, unwise of heart and blind to how it shook. The parrot asked, why such regret and grief? What tale have you that seeks no calm relief? He said, I told your plaints and present song to those wild parrots where the free belong. And one among them, hearing of your pain, did tremble so, then lifeless did remain. It shivered, fell, and stilled its verdant wing. I fear my words became a deadly sting. Too late I knew the harm my speech has spun, yet once loosed, words are arrows never undone. They leap from tongue as from a tightened bow, and pierce the hearts they were not meant to throw. Upon these words the parrot gave a sigh. It shook and dropped, as if it too would die. Its color faded, breath no longer stirred, and silence fell as if it spoke no word. The merchant saw and struck his brow in dread. He tore his robe and cried above the dead. O parrot sweet, what curse has come to thee? What fate has torn thy gentle voice from me? O grief, my bird of song, my friend, my grace. O mirror of the garden's blessed face. O joy once perched beside me singing clear, whose voice was balm, whose feathers brought me cheer. Had Solomon such bird in wisdom's ring, he'd not have sowed 1,000 other wings. Oh woe, a treasure once so lightly found, now gone, and I unworthy to be crowned. Then from the cage he cast the bird away. It soared aloft to where the branches sway. The lifeless parrot, now with breath renewed, took flight like down in robes of golden blue. The merchant stood, astonished eyes agaze. He watched, bewildered by this mystic maze. A mystery broke open in his mind, the cage, the death, the ruse, the truth behind. He raised his voice, O nightingale so wise, now share its secret hidden from my eyes. What deed was done, what trick didst thou devise, to fake thy death and then to heaven rise? The parrot spoke. It was that one who died, who by her silence taught me to decide. She gave me wisdom, not in word but deed, to seize my song and thus my soul be freed. My voice, my charm had made my prison strong, so I played dead and rightened what was wrong. I killed the self that loved the cage's grace, and thus I soared again to freedom's place. She offered now a final gift of lore, a truthful word, then turned to speak no more. A few wise sayings, clear and without guile. Then came farewell, with silence and a smile. The merchant wept and whispered, "Go in peace. From your escape I've gained my own release. You've shown me now a path both bright and true, and I in turn shall walk that way anew." He said within, "This lesson now is mine, to break the cage and seek the soul's design. If light has lit a lantern in the night, I follow now the way that leads to light." O life of lovers lies in deathly grace. No heart is found but in the heart's erase. The parrot taught the soul what dying means. Die to self in want, in beggar's sins. How shall stone turn green in vernal breath, be soil instead, and bloom in colored death? Years you've been stone, sharp-edged, unkind and cold. Once be soil, and let the test unfold. If the thirsty seek the water in the land, know, the water seeks the thirsty hand. Seek not water, bring forth thirst instead, till a spring arise from heights and depths wider spread. At this point, many listeners have already fallen asleep. If you are among them, may these words become dreams. And if you remain awake, another story waits, gentle, slow, and full of hidden light. In the days of his youth, before the weight of crowns and conquests had settled upon his shoulders, Alexander of Macedonia heard a tale that stirred his restless heart. Travelers spoke of a hidden tree growing at the edge of the world, whose fruit granted immortality. Whoever reached it would escape decay and death, living beyond the limits of time. Alexander, already hungry for greatness, felt a deeper hunger awaken within him. If such a tree exists, he said to himself, it must be found, not for glory alone, but to grasp the secret of life itself. So he set out on a long journey, leaving behind cities and armies, crossing lands unknown. He traveled through desert where the earth cracked from thirst, through forests where light barely touched the ground. Everywhere he went, he asked of the immortal tree. Some laughed at him, calling the tale a dream for poets. Others mocked him, pointing toward distant mountains or endless seas. A few spoke in riddles, saying the tree stood nowhere and everywhere. Yet Alexander pressed on, certain that persistence would conquer mystery as it conquered kingdoms. Years passed, and the young conqueror grew weary. No leaf, no branch, no sign of the tree revealed itself. At last, heavy with doubt, Alexander came upon the dwelling of an old sage, a man whose eyes were clear and whose words were few. Alexander bowed and spoke honestly. I have conquered lands, yet failed in this. I seek a tree that grants eternal life, and the world has given me nothing but silence. The sage smiled gently and replied, You have searched far, but only outward. Seeing Alexander's confusion, the sage continued, The immortal tree is not rooted in soil. It grows in meaning, not in earth. Its fruit is not eaten by the body, but by understanding. Many seek it by name and shape, and so they return empty-handed. He said, It is the tree of knowledge. Some call it tree, others call it light. Others call it water. To one, it appears as power, to another as mercy, to another as wisdom. Names divide people, but meaning unites them. The sage concluded, whoever chases forms alone will remain thirsty. Whoever sees beyond names will find the water of life flowing within. Alexander stood silent. For the first time, he sensed a victory greater than conquest and a lesson deeper than ambition. When he continued on his way, he walked lighter than before. Though he carried no branch or fruit, he carried something greater. If you find comfort here, you may choose to join this circle of listeners by subscribing. New stories will be waiting for you whenever sleep or silence calls. This story tells of Moses one day upon the path, who saw a shepherd speaking to the wrath of separation, crying out to God, "O chosen one, tell me the way you trod. Where are you, that I may be your servant dear? I'll mend your shoes and comb the hair you wear. I'll wash your clothes and kill the fleas I find, and bring you milk, O Master of mankind. I'll kiss your little hand, I'll rub your feet, and sweep the place where you repose to sleep. May all my goats be sacrificed for you, my bleating calls and cries remember you." This idle chatter went the shepherd on, till Moses asked, "With whom speak you, O one?" He said, "With him who brought us into being, from whom this earth and turning the sky are seeing." Said Moses, "Fie, you are quite misguided now. You've turned a heathen without making vow. What senseless talk, what blasphemy is this? A plug of cotton in your mouth you press. The stench of your impiety has fouled the word. Your heresy has into rags-fade silk unfurled. He drinks the milk who grows and is increased. He wears the shoe who needs it for his feet. Shoes and the leg wraps are for you, not him. How can such things befit the sun's bright rim? If you do not restrain your throat from this, a fire will come and burn the folk, I wish. The shepherd cried, "O Moses, you have bound my mouth, and with regret my soul you've burned with drought." He tore his garment, sighed a burning sigh, and set his head toward the wilderness to fly. A revelation came from God to Moses' ear. Our servant from our presence did you clear. Were you sent forth to join them in our grace? Or were you sent to put them from this place? As best you can, step not upon the path of rift. Divorce is of the things I must dislike and shift. To every person I've endowed a certain way. To every heart a language it must say. What he has spoken is a praise in my sight. What you have spoken is a venom's blight. For his own soul 'tis like a honey sweet. For your own soul 'tis poison for your feet. We are above all clean and unclean things, above all heavy spirits and all swift flutterings. I did not order service for my own use, but to bestow my bounty on my servant truth. I do not look at the tongue nor its sound, I look upon the spirit and the state profound. O Moses, those who know the rules of form are one, but souls and spirits that are burnt are quite undone. For lovers every moment is for burning bright. No tide or tax is levied on a ruin's blight. The fate of love is separate from all creeds. The lover's creed and path is God's own deeds. When Moses heard this chiding from the truth, he ran into the desert, seeking out the youth. He followed the faint trace of those distraught feet and brushed the dust from the desert scorching heat. The path of men whose hearts are overcome and torn is known to be distinguished from the steps of others born. One step like a rock, from high to low it flies. One step like an elephant, walking slantwise lies. At last he overtook him and saw his face. "Good tidings," cried Moses. "Permissions come from grace. Your blasphemy is faith. Your faith is life's bright flame. You are secure, and all the world is safe from blame. Seek not for manners, seek for order none. Speak forth whatever your weary heart has done. Words are growing softer now. Meaning no longer asks to be understood. Only the sound remains and the call it carries. A weary traveler rushing through the land, sought out a home, some shelter close at hand. A friend then led him through a shattered door, a ruined house with dust upon the floor. He said, "Ah, if only this poor place had roof, I'd host you here, in comfort and in truth. Your wife and children too could rest in peace, if just one chamber offered some release." The guest replied with wisdom, soft and deep, "'Tis true, to dwell beside a friend is sweet. But listen, soul, mere wishes are but air. No heart can sit in if, for if leaves nowhere." None has borne the burden not their own. None has reaped where seeds were never sown. Do not feed on hope that's raw and vain. Uncooked bites bring sorrow, doubt, and pain. That one found a treasure out of blue, so shall I with neither toil nor dew. This is folly, son, a dream too thin. Work and sweat must earn the gold within. Fortune, aye, may shine by random chance, yet rare the soul whom luck would thus advance. Labor is the road where fortune's kept. Do not step aside, press on, adapt, lest you fall to traps of if and might. Had I done this, that, regrets false light. For the doubter dies in if's deceit, harvesting no fruit, but cold defeat. Once a jackal, wandering without care, fell into a vat of dye left there. In that deep jar he lingered for a while, then rose anew, adorned in brilliant style. His fare now shone with green, red, and gold, a coat no forest creature yet had told. With pride he strutted, "Behold my lovely state, a peacock now, refined and truly great." The other jackals, plain in coat and shade, stared in awe at what his form displayed. They cried, "Oh brother, what has happened here? Why walk apart from us with royal cheer? What pride is this? Why scorn our lowly band? From what high dream did you receive command?" One wise jackal stepped and questioned so, "Tell us, friend, what caused this vibrant glow? Are you bewitched or drunk with joy or fame, to climb a pulpit just to stake your claim?" But the jackal, bathed in colors bold and bright, struck the air with pride and mocked aside. "Look upon me now, this radiant hue, no either rivals me, nor skies so blue. A garden I have become, a fragrant flame. Fall and bow to me, proclaim my name. Behold my luster, wonder at my hue. Call me the glory of the world, if true. A sign of divine favor I have become, the page on which God's majesty is written. Come, O jackals, cease from calling me your kin. Could a jackal bear such grace within? Then gathered all the jackals, young and old, drawn to him like moths to flame and gold. They asked, "Pray tell us, being rare and high, what are you now beneath the painted sky?" He said, I am the peacock of the spheres, bright as Mercury among the stars appears. They said, the peacocks of the garden shine, their beauty born where flowers entwine. Do you display such grace, such art? He said, no, how to boast of a road I've not crossed? They said, but peacocks in the garden bloom, with grace and song they banish gloom. Can you too sing like them at dawn? He sighed and said, my voice is gone. They said, then you are not what you proclaim, not peacock, not of that celestial flame. The peacock's robe descends from heaven's height, not from a vat of colors overnight. No paint, no claim, no boastful lie can bring you wings with which to fly. You've drunk from a cup that is empty and vain, yet you mimic the wise who are drunk without a stain. You sweeten your life with a dream and a lie, puffing yourself like a cloud in the sky. But a single small needle will pop all that pride, leaving nothing but cold, empty silence inside. No wise man would wish for a soul filled with air, a greatness so hollow, a weight of despair. You shape your jars from snow in winter's cold. How can they last when water's truth unfolds? Thank you for sharing this hour. Rumi reminds us that the soul does not sleep, it only travels inward. May your rest be deep, your dreams gentle, and your heart light. Wherever you are in the world, may peace find you easily tonight. Until we meet again, good night.